Greetz Fruit Fam, it's the Living Fruit on YouTube, and I'm here with the Buddha and a plant. I've just spent ages trying to make a pretty shot because this is the best light in the house because it's about 7 o'clock now. It's been a long day, so apologies for the shot. It's not my best work. I don't love it. I just think white backgrounds, they just don't really work with my skin tone. Oh dear, I really don't know what to vlog about, so I just wrote kind of a little list. So values. Values are really important to who you are. Whether or not we realise it, we are governed by what the world has taught us and what we have bought into, growing up in the family, through to school, college and into adulthood. That's where our values are gleaned from. A lot of that is role modelled by our parents, and we tend to almost follow in their footsteps or be the complete opposite, and maybe somewhere in between. I often find it's really interesting when I'm having this conversation and I'm being resisted. Often there's like unresolved issues or an incomplete conversation about values, which brings up resistance because it gets in the way of our journey and our true expression of who we really are. I'm going to share a little bit about my values, which are really grounded in integrity. Integrity is really important to me. To do as you say when you say we're going to do it, to keep your promises to yourself and others, and when you can't, be in communication about that. That's because I think that our word, what we speak, is really important because we create through what we speak. So it's really important to me that when I'm creating, that I'm doing it with some sort of integrity. Also part of that is gratitude. If your awareness doesn't stretch to being grateful for that which you have, even if it's the smallest thing and you think you don't have anything and no one ever gives you anything, take a look around, you've got loads if you have a look. And without gratitude, how can you receive anything? The universe has no clue what to give you if you can't be grateful for things you already have or grateful for anything. And the other one for me is love. Love is who we are. And more recently, if you've been following me on this journey for a while, in the last 6 months, self-love has become really big energy for me and a massive source of learning, and it's actually a beautiful thing. If you're listening to this conversation, you're thinking, values? You know, what are mine? There's an exercise on my website that you can check out, and it will take you through a whole process of grounding yourself in your values, and you'll be like, why bother? Because when we make choices coming from an awareness of our values, we make more powerful choices that actually suit who we are. Just the awareness brings you into alignment with the right choices for you. What else did I want to talk about? Money and wealth. It was during my money hour that I saw how I had abundance collapsed with making myself feel better. So when I would create abundance, I would start hemorrhaging money. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, that I had a month this year, I just spent so much money, and it was like, okay, I need to look at that, like why? Why did I get like 2-3 parking tickets in 1 month? And just everything was expensive and money was just going out of my hands. It's because every time I create abundance in the way of attracting wealth and such like, I subconsciously collapse that with feeling better. And that comes from working for an employer and not liking that job and just really being dissatisfied and medicating myself, if you like, emotionally by spending money on things that I felt would make me feel better. You know, I'd buy clothes and shoes and take my son to eat out after school when, you know, he should be having a home-cooked meal. You know, buy him stuff, of course, and just that would make me feel better about having to go to work the next day. So I had abundance collapsed with making myself feel better. I had abundance collapsed with spending money, which is not the fastest way to financial freedom. Recognising that has been huge for me because it's kind of removed one of my blocks to allow true abundance and wealth to come into my life and to have that freedom around money. One of you lovely viewers asked me a question in the comments the other day, so why don't we answer that one? Consciously Create 211. Thank you for your question. How do you find the courage to travel the world by yourself? The reason why I'm asking is I find myself missing out on the things I like doing if I have to go alone. And that is exactly the reason. I didn't just jump into travelling to Africa by myself. I started with artist dates. And if you know of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, she talks about these artist dates which you have to do alone, which you have to do once a week, which you have to go and do something that stimulates you creatively. So that was kind of like my training, working her 12-step program for artists. And I would go to the theatre in the afternoon by myself or the cinema. I still don't go in the evening to these things by myself. but I will go to matinees, galleries, or you've seen me in my videos running around the city. It was a case of, well, if I wait for someone to fulfil my dream, my goal at the time, which was to live abroad for a long period of time, and with the way work was, life was, 3 months was what I could do. If I was waiting for someone to come and join me, then I would still be waiting. And anyway, one of my friends flew out and I was there, and I flew my son out. So, you know, it wasn't like alone. And when you travel on your own, you're never alone, because people are curious, people are interested, and it's easier to strike up conversation, because when it's a group, people don't normally approach a group. So there are benefits to it. You know, there's no committee about what you're going to do, where you're going to travel to, and what you're going to see. You're just like a free spirit. It's a wonderful thing. And ultimately, it's like I said in one of my videos recently, you just have to reach inside and find that line heart. Get your courage up and just do your life, because no one's going to do it for you. Oh, the other thing I want to share about that is safety. One of my rules of thumb when I'm travelling alone is I never leave my accommodation without having a destination. I never just go and wander around the city to see what it's like. No, have a destination. Even if it's a little coffee shop that has a special statue, or whether it's a museum, or whether it's a famous sightseeing monument, have a destination, because it grounds you, it gives you a focus. When you don't have that focus and you've got that energy of kind of wandering around and not knowing where you're going, it leaves you vulnerable, because people can sense that. So never leave your accommodation without having a destination. Here, there's my travel tip for the day. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was veganism. You know, I came in today and I was on social media. This whole business with Darian Ryder, and how he's been called a rapist, a paedophile, how he called someone a paedophile, how someone called him, and Freely is trying to be pulled off the internet. And what is that about? Like, really, you're necking. They have incredibly strong views about veganism, and they do insist on ramming it down other people's throats. In among some quite good information about how to feed yourself in a vegan way. But I also think a lot of that comes from trying to have a successful YouTube channel, trying to get views, and also being a bit unthinking. I was watching something where Freely told a young girl, 14 or 15, that if her parents are insisting that she eat meat, that's abuse and she can report them to the authorities. But I don't think that's a responsible way to behave when you've got a platform to speak on. Because when you're 14 and 15, you're kind of impressionable and you want to rebel against your parents anyway. And being encouraged to report them to the police is not the way forward. So really stupid stuff comes out of mouth sometimes. And I just think none of that is vegan. That's not a way to behave. That is not being tolerant and loving to your fellow man and woman. So, you know, I kind of like got a bit caught up in reading and watching these videos about all these other accusations. I mean, where's rape and paedophilia? How did that enter the conversation about food? We just get so flipping into conflict with one another, and we forget the point. We forget the point of why we all come to the party in the first place. Take a chill pill, just chill out. Look at your values, discover your look at your values, discover who you really are, and live with some semblance of integrity. Goodness me. Anyways, that's the news. Do let me know in the comments, what are your values? Also, help me out. Let me know in the comments what else you would like to see on this channel. I'm going to do a recipe video tomorrow or the day after, because one of you asked for the faux star soup that was in yesterday's vlog, and you can look out for that. So anything else that you want, or any questions, let me know in the comments. Okay, that's the news. Thanks for watching. Please thumbs up this video, share and subscribe if you're new here, and welcome to the Fruit Fam, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to keep reaching for those good feeling thoughts.